So, have I let myself be blinded by nostalgia, or have I caught a brilliant Scale 200 aircraft model? We will find out thanks to the great prices of the FMB shop. Do check them out, a link to them is in the video description below. And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at a DHC-7 of Maersk Air in Scale 200. And at the front of the box we have a lovely image of the aircraft in real life, and on top of that we have the Maersk Air branding. The backside of the box then offers us the same image once more. We can see it is a limited edition. Overall, I do like this box design, as in what has been printed onto the box, but the box itself I am not a big fan of. This is cheap, thin, poorly put together cardboard that bends around the corners. This is not really representing a premium Scale 200 product. Before we get any further into the review, it is worth mentioning that this Scale 200 model obviously does come with a stand. Herpa goes here for, again, a cheap plastic version, but at least there is a lovely little print here on the stand. So presentation-wise, Herpa hasn't set the world on fire, but what about the model? Well, we will see here in this review, as we are looking at the DHC-7 in one of the previous standard liveries of Maersk Air. And while the aircraft type is a little bit before my time, I remember flying the Fokker 50, maybe the 27 even, but this livery is very much of my childhood. This is what when I think Maersk Air, I'm thinking of, and this is why I just had to get the aircraft model. But have I let myself be blinded by my nostalgia? Well, we need to find out what the aircraft model has to offer, and the best way to do so is by simply taking a look at the aircraft model, starting off with the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer have the iconic Maersk Air star or branding. Above that we also find the last letter of the registration code, and on top of the vertical stabilizer we then on the DHC-7 have the horizontal stabilizer, where we have loads of really lovely physical and printed detailing from Herpa Wings. I think that looks really brilliant. On the fuselage we then have the full registration code of the aircraft and also the aircraft type specification hiding just behind the wings. If we then follow the two dark blue cheat lines to the front of the aircraft, we can see across the fuselage we have the writing of Maersk. Just underneath that we have an emergency exit, and we can also see a few small dots here and there, some small, perhaps delicate ports, but at least some peto tubes and stuff like that. Lovely detailing, a bit discreet, but it is all there, and yeah, from the right angle you can also see that. And since we are talking petro tubes, let's look at the cockpit section itself, where we of course have the cockpit windows with the window wipers. Part of the Maersk Air livery, the lovely blacked out bonnet, and of course we also have a bit of detailing around the radome. That's also very lovely detailed indeed. And from the cockpit section itself we can then move on to the turboprop engines. 4 we have on this aircraft type. Very lovely detailing here, both physical detailing as well as printed detailing on the sides. Again, the Maersk Air star and some other small printed details here. That looks really lovely. I do believe they're kind of the exhaust pipes that are on top of these turboprop engines. I'm not an expert on this aircraft type, so do correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think this looks really lovely. And one thing we of course already know from Herpa Wings in Scale 500, well, is also here continued in Scale 200, and that is the fact that these blades are movable. That's always a lovely little party piece. Then we can also take a quick look at the landing gear here, the main landing gear mounted underneath the inner engine pair. That landing gear is not movable, but the wheels are rolling, so there's that. And then we have the front landing gear, where I think we have some lovely printed detailing as well. What I especially like here is when we take a look at the front, where we have the little taxi light indicated in print. Then we can also take a quick look at the wings, starting off with the top side, where we can see some lovely physical detailing. That is also continued on the underside, where I also think Herpa has done a pretty decent job, and we of course also have the full registration code of the aircraft once again. And since we are already looking underneath the aircraft, we can also see here of course we have the hole in the fuselage for the stand that is included with this aircraft model, and it doesn't destroy any printed details, so I think this is just fine. And we actually also have another little printed detail here. And since we are talking small details, we should also mention that we have at least 2 antennas here on this aircraft model, one on top of the fuselage, that's pretty lovely, and also one underneath the fuselage. And then what I guess comes closest to a door to the cargo compartment of the aircraft has also been added here at the back of the aircraft. So there we have it, the DHC-7 in one of the former standard liveries of Maersk Air in scale 1 to 200 from Herpa Wings. And what can we say about this aircraft model? So what you're probably not very surprised about to hear by now is that I am a huge fan of this livery. I just love it. This incorporates so many childhood memories of mine. So yeah, I'm struggling to be really objective about this aircraft model because hey, it's a Maersk Air aircraft model. I love it, but there are some things we need to talk about. I mean, the print quality itself is really good. I don't think we can really fault Herpa here, and I think the physical detailing of this aircraft model is also really good. The quality itself is excellent. It definitely sets itself apart from the really poor box. So yes, I really do like this aircraft model. I think it is a high quality, lovely put together aircraft model, but there is one big critique point that I have to make, and it hurts me that I have to make it, but we are coming back to that dreaded topic of the price. Now, of course, scale 200 models are more expensive than scale 400 or 500 models, but they are also much bigger. But the DHC-7 is a really tiny aircraft in real life, and in scale 200 it's also not very big. In fact, this model is hardly bigger than an A380 in scale 500. And with Herpa Wings, an A380 nowadays retails at around 50 euros. This aircraft model does retail at around 80 euros. And I really do struggle to see where these extra 30 euros have gone into this model. I don't see them. I mean, we don't really need much more material to create this model compared to an A380 in scale 500. Yes, there are a few more small prints than you would get on a scale 500 model, but it's a bigger scale, so it should also be easier to add. So yeah, I'm really struggling with this retail price because I don't see 80 euros in front of me when I look at this aircraft model. Despite me loving it to bits, I mean, it's a Maersk Air model. You couldn't make me more happy than to make such a model. But 80 euros? Come on, Herpa. Which is why I ended up buying it from the FMB shop, because even though it is still an expensive aircraft model, they do have much more reasonable prices than the official retail price set by Herpa Wings. And with that, we are concluding today's video. Now, if you have enjoyed this little excursion into scale 200 and a little bit of nostalgia, then feel free to leave a like. That would be very much appreciated. And of course, if you are new around here, you're always welcome to hit subscribe. With that, thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.